So I just had an interesting experience. We have a fair, a large community fair, and I was talking to this man about insurance, and he's one of the people at the program, and it was really interesting. We got talking about things to do, and he said, "Oh, my dream is to move to Arizona and live in Arizona," and he didn't even have it all the way out of his mouth when he said, "But my wife doesn't like the heat, and she doesn't want to, and she can't, and she won't, and she's..."
Really?
And it was like, wow, here's this man's dream, and yet it's not going to be an attainable thing. And so it got me really thinking, how do we determine what success is? How do we determine success? How do we determine what we really want? What do you live for? We did that last week, but here's this man living for something that he clearly isn't going to have from his point of view.
So he's imagine what their relationship is like.
No.
Here he's got this dream. He's got to be resentful. He's got to be unhappy in the relationship.
Sure.
And did he think, okay, I'm not going to get Arizona, but what are the pieces of Arizona that I like, and maybe I can find those pieces here?
But well, so
did he?
No, of course not. So, but here, this is the point of this conversation. So, what is it that you want, and how important is it that you want it? Because he wants it, but it clearly isn't important enough because he's got a lot of barriers in the way. And we all do this in one way or another. But the concept of saying what you just said, okay, here's the parts that I want. How do we talk together, wife, and figure out a way that we can accomplish this? And probably in that relationship, the question of what do you want? What are your dreams? How would you like to experience? And so it was an interesting interaction, but not an uncommon interaction.
So how do people measure their success? You know, when do you know you've arrived?
Sure. But the real question is, what's important to me in my life, and can I hold my attention on my intention? And how do we collectively agree to some structure that we are going to go and enjoy, both individually and together? And so shaping success. But the other part of this that I was fascinated by is this man is lonely. He's in a relationship, as he said other things, and most of it was, my wife doesn't agree, and she won't do this, and we can't do that. And so here he is having his desires, not reevaluating his desires, because they're all in past time, and he's settling for a lack of accomplishing. So there's no meter of success. There's no meter of how will I know.
Well, his meter of success is living in Arizona. And since that's not going to happen, is he never going to feel successful?
Most likely. If that's his expectation, he's going to live in disappointment.
So that's where tearing it apart and discovering what are the aspects I like, the mountains, the sand, and be successful in those mini Arizonas.
Yeah. So this is the part that I'm interested in this conversation with people listening. So what is your success? What is your target? What is the opportunity? How do you really step back and say, is it in past time? Sometimes they go by. You know, I had wanted to do a whole lot of woodworking and even got some of the equipment, but it never worked out to really do it. And now it's really clear it is a desire that has passed. And so am I resentful or upset? No, it's just simply, okay, that didn't work out. But I can take it off my plate rather than being resentful about having it. One of the pieces that is very important, I think, that's fascinating, maybe more fascinating than important, is with these waves of light that are now coming, these changes that are now coming, and we're going to talk about this a lot more, these fields of possibilities are really becoming available. So it's a matter of basically holding your attention on it, reaching into it, accepting, playing in, and embracing these possibilities, rather than, in this man's case, well, it's never going to happen. But it's my dream, but she won't let me.
Sad.
It is sad. Not so much about the sad story of it, though, is where are we? Where are you? Where is the relationships that we are all in? And there's a huge opportunity with these fields of possibility to really step back and say, what am I all about? Here I am. This is where I am. Let's reevaluate. It's like the woman we talked about last week collecting all the knickknacks, just filling up the house, but not even remembering where some of the knickknacks came from. So how many knickknacks do you have in your life? How many wants? How many disappointments? How many pieces of baggage are still sitting there on a
Well, and so is this man going to be on his deathbed and say, man, I didn't get Arizona my whole life.
Most likely.
I'm 90 years old and I never got my Arizona. So that's where it's important for us, we people, to scale it back. Okay, I'm not going to get Arizona, but I am going to get a weekend in Arizona.
Or it's the space.
And then, yay, I was successful, celebrate.
Right. But a sense of success and a sense of celebration are outside of people's realities. We don't stop with the many, many, many successes, little tiny successes we have all day long. We don't embrace the concept of success. Mm-hmm. We don't, good job, and basically enjoy your moment-to-moment experience. Yes. But here, this space of opportunity to step into possibilities, to step into your dreams, to step into what is important to you with success is something that is now becoming available. But if we continue to just do what we've always done and not take a look at where am I and how am I creating what I would like, not only in this moment, but from this moment into the next future moments, it's really a place where, how do I assess where I am? Mm-hmm. And then how many people have a sense of, you just use these words, how will you know when you arrive? What is the meter? How do you know you're successful? You've accomplished, you feel validated, you're comfortable with your moments.
It's like last night, you were on an errand somewhere, and I'm sitting downstairs looking at the waterfall you built. And it was quiet, and it was a bubbling, and it was the birds, and I felt successful. I felt like, oh, here I've arrived. I'm having a great moment. I had a great moment.
Yeah.
You need to go out and do errands more often.
You mean leave you so you can be in your success. But this is a point just to ponder. Yeah. I think we want to create provocative considerations, I think, in the next couple of weeks. It's just this question of, how will I know I've arrived? What are my means of determining success? And what do I carry around in resentment because I didn't get, or I'm defining it as a failure, or he, she won't let me do it? Mm-hmm. How important is it to you, and how do you get together with he and she and basically say, look, this is important to me. I would like to figure out how we can do this. That's a place I think that's going to become very important in navigating the future.
Yeah.
So.
Good one.
Where would you like to go to be successful?
Not Arizona.
Okay, good, I agree. We're successful on that. So, we'll play again next week.